What is the cheapest booster box you can currently invest in from Scarlet, Violet, and Mega Evolution? Not the cheapest box, not the cheapest box at MSRP. I mean the cheapest standard English booster box you can actually buy on the secondary market today. I compared the current market prices across both eras, and the answer is not a Scarlet Violet set. It's Mega Evolution Perfect Order. Big surprise. Perfect Order booster boxes are currently about MSRP, and this makes it I think the only booster box that is selling at MSRP. But a cheap booster box is not automatically a good investment. So today, we're going to look at the booster box price, the cards currently worth more than $50 and $100, the overall strength of the set, possible risks, and whether Perfect Order is genuinely undervalued or simply just cheap. At $180, you're paying around, $5 a booster pack? I'm just doing quick video math. That is important because most modern Pokemon booster boxes from these eras have already climbed considerably higher. The original base set for Mega Evolution, over $300. Phantasmal, over $400. And if you look at Scarlet and Violet, Surging Sparks is $290, Paradox Rift around there as well, maybe $300. Scarlet Violet base close to $300, Stellar Crowns $300. A lot of these sets in Scarlet Violet have a floor of around $300. That gives Perfect Order an entry price that is $25 to $40 below Chaos Rising and more than $100 below some of the cheapest Scarlet Violet era booster boxes. Now, purely based on the amount of money required to buy a booster box, Perfect Order is a clear winner, but the box still needs valuable cards inside it, right? Perfect Order currently has 3 cards that are between $50 and $100, and the first one up is Mega Clefable EX. This card currently has an ungraded market value of around $50, and Mega Clefable may not be the biggest mon in the set, but the card definitely has some strong artwork and gives Perfect Order another reasonably valuable SIR. Next is Rosa's Encouragement. This card is currently at around $50. Trainer cards can be volatile, but Rosa is a recognizable and popular trainer. That gives the card more collector potential than a generic supporter with no established fan base. And don't ever estimate the waifu potential of any set. Let's look at some of the historical ones that are going to be showing up on the screen. It can always jump up later in time, but I anticipate it to go a little bit lower in the short term. Third card is Mega Zygarde EX. This card currently is over $60. This is an SIR version of Mega Zygarde EX and one of the more major visual centerpieces of Perfect Order. Yeah, I could see this go down a little bit further. Now let's look at the 2 cards that are over $100, and the first one's going to be Mega Zygarde EX. This is the Mega Hyper Rare version, currently at I believe over $100. Mega Hyper Rares remain extremely difficult pulls, and the gold treatment, especially these new ones, distinguish the card from the regular and other SIRs. However, rarity alone does not guarantee long-term potential. Great example is Sword and Shield. Zygarde does not have the same broad collector appeal as like Charizard, Pikachu, Eevee, the Gengar. Second card that's over $100 is going to be Meowth EX. Current values, I believe, is over $140. This card's especially interesting because it combines several demand factors. With it being an original 150, the artwork has broad collector appeal, and the regular Meowth EX has seen meaningful competitive use in the meta, so that definitely helps the market value. Altogether, Perfect Order has 5 pullable cards over $50, 3 between $50 and $100, 2 that are above $100. That's a respectable chase card structure for a booster box under $200. Here is where Perfect Order becomes interesting. The booster box costs less than $186. Its 2 largest pulls are currently over $100, and that means the leading chase card is roughly 75% of the sealed booster box price. The two pulls combined are worth $270. Of course, that does not mean opening a box is profitable. In fact, it's nearly impossible to pull both of those in one booster box. And even if you pull one of the higher rarity cards, it may not be one of the expensive ones we just highlighted in this video. A box with a $140 chase looks much more interesting at a box at MSRP than it would at a booster box of like $350 or $400. Perfect Order offers relatively affordable sealed product while still giving collectors two possible pulls over $100. That creates a legitimate reason for collectors to open the set, which is an important part of long-term sealed demand. Now let's look at the argument for investing. The strongest argument has to be the entry price. At a box set around MSRP, this box doesn't need to be $600 to produce a meaningful return. If it eventually reaches $250, which it will in time, that would represent an increase of over 30%. At $300, you're looking at 60%. At $400, that would be more than double, obviously. That does not include selling fees, shipping, insurance, if you're putting that on your shipping, taxes, or if this product's going to keep up with that. But it definitely demonstrates the advantage of buying at a lower price. Perfect Order has a reasonable chase card ladder. It has 5 cards over 50, 2 of those over 100, and these are all qualities that are great for long-term sealed. Without its positives, here are some of the negatives to this argument. Perfect Order is one of the weaker sets in the area, hands down. The affordability could represent an opportunity, but it can also accurately reflect the collector appeal and just the overall demand. Meowth EX is the largest chase, but competitive demand's gonna die out. It's gonna rotate out, and that needs to be part of this calculation if you're gonna invest in Perfect Order Sealed. Mega Zygarde also presents some risk. It's the primary Pokemon of the set, but it does not have the same fan base of some of the more iconic mons. Perfect Order could receive additional print waves, but I can't see that happening. The only thing I can see is more booster packs within auxiliary product, and it could just be part of them trying to get rid of excess stock. Now, buying a recent booster box always carries a risk, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to produce fast returns. So you got to keep that in mind. It's going to require several years before the market meaningfully reduces the available supply, especially for a weaker set. Great examples is like Crimson Invasion from Sun and Moon, and some of the earlier sets in Sword and Shield. All right, so here's my verdict. Perfect Order is currently the cheapest set between Mega Evolution and Scarlet and Violet. You could get it at close to MSRP, if not already at MSRP. It has 5 cards over 50 and 2 of those over $100. The largest chase cards are Meowth and Mega Zygarde. I would classify Perfect Order as like a more value-oriented sealed investment rather than a premium investment such as Phantasmal Flames. It doesn't have the strongest Mon lineup. It doesn't have the strongest individual chase card in the era, not even close. And it's going to take a lot longer to appreciate than some of the other sister sets. But it offers something modern Pokemon no longer offer, and that is the reasonable purchase price entry. That is an uncommon thing these days. For someone starting to build a sealed position, this is a box you don't have to pay $300 to $400. This is one of the most accessible booster boxes in a very long time. My preferred buying range would be MSRP to under 180. I'm not saying Perfect Order is guaranteed to make you money, but historically, every single booster box has went up. And right now, this is the most legitimate entry point, especially compared to the chase cards within its respective set. Like I said before, cheapest booster boxes aren't always the best investments. That's my caveat throughout this entire video. But in this case, Perfect Order may be cheap enough to deserve a place within an investing conversation.